please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks for coming, everybody. We've been having beautiful weather, that's for sure. And I did get my boat in yesterday. I'm late.
Already?
Yeah, I'm late.
Really late.
Really late for me, but we got her done. Okay, roll call, please.
John DeBoyer.
Here.
Maureen Bory.
Here.
Mark Bouchard.
Here.
Artie Bryson.
Here.
Christy Hiltonen.
Here.
Chris O'Regan.
I'm here.
Cindy Valentine here.
Okay, next we have bills payable. I will entertain a motion.
Board, I'd like to make a motion to support the bills payable in the amount of $142,388.78.
Support.
Okay, a motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Christy Hiltonen.
Yes.
Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Maureen Bory.
Yes.
John DeBoyer.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, moving right along. Brace yourself, everybody, for the supervisors report. Let's see, it's no surprise this time of year, I've been doing a lot of work on budgets. And we have tentative agreements with actually all of our bargaining units now. We met today with the last one and came to a tentative agreement, and as soon as they get them all ratified and to us, we will put them before the board for approval. We had some good feedback from our bus tour out to that algae wheel treatment plant in Indiana, and we do have three possible sites we're looking at right now. I did meet with Senator Hertel and State Rep Jay DeBoyer about possible funding solutions going forward. And I'm hoping we get our study done for the carbon credits like yesterday, but it's supposed to be any day. And I don't know if Anthony has more news for me tonight about that, but we'll find out a little later in our meeting. Been working a lot with blight cases with the code enforcer. We closed out quite a few this past week of open blight cases. He's doing very well. People, please cut your grass. Township does not want to be in the grass cutting business, and there's a lot of outstanding actions that we're going to have to take here real soon. Let's see. I'll be sending, I just received our agreements that we came up for our South Water Municipal Utility Authority. And I'll be sending them out. I was hoping to have it for our board meeting. It will be the third week in July for us to approve it. So I'll give you plenty of time to check it out, look at it, see if you have any questions. It's basically the same one. This is what Algonac, Ira, and Clay, we've been doing a lot of meetings with the county, and we came up with. And I think it's a pretty good agreement. You know, that this is an agreement for the wastewater treatment plant authority to Algonac, Clay, and Ira. So, and to actually formulate the authority. Let's see. Construction is ongoing for 3 pickleball courts and Pearl Beach parking lot and bathroom that supports the fishing pier. It's been going quick. It's been going fast. I mean, we had a few hiccups down at the Pearl Beach pier that we were able to get taken care of. We did have a problem with some dirt smelling like gas, and And we brought in the EPA and we tested the dirt, and it tested pretty much clean for, was it TCLP test, right?
Yeah, T-Club.
Yeah. So, and we filed all our paperwork for the Clearwater State Revolving Fund projects with EGLE last Friday. And we've been doing a lot of shopping for general liability insurance, which we're going to talk about a little later. Right, John?
Correct.
We had our initial meeting with Partners of Architects, or Partners in Architects, over the new public safety building we're considering. They will deliver us concept drawings, cost estimates, after they assess our township needs, what we have needs for now and the future. And they'll be conducting interviews with all the different departments and doing surveys. So that was kind of exciting. Working on getting the state maps dealing with broadband expansion corrected, working with the state's chief connectivity officer. I actually received the email from him today. I have not had time to read it, but it will be on the things to do tomorrow morning for sure. Working on round 2 for the Spark grants for our outdoor exercise equipment in the park. Clay hosted it was a statewide meeting for the DNR. They had about 30 officers here. We've hosted it before, and they get together and talk about policies and things that they have going on in the whole state. And they asked me to attend for a while, which I did, and had lunch. They actually held it over in the Lions Hall, the Algonac Lions Hall. Then afterwards, they went walleye fishing. They had 4 boats go out, and they caught 24 fish. So they enjoyed that. I'm not sure how long they were out there, but I bet you
20 minutes.
I bet you they were all within the right size, right?
Yeah.
All right.
No violated.
Had meetings with the St. Clair County Blue Meats Green, where they do a bunch of prioritizing in the county with private and government entities. Water plant meeting. We do have a new supervisor for the Algonac Water Plant. The old one resigned, and we have a new guy in there, Josh, who is very competent, and we like him a lot. Let's see, Algonac Plant. I had 2 meetings with our new pickleball advisory committee, and had a meeting with the Algonac Trap Team, the rat trappers. They've done very well. They had 28 shooters this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think they had 3 or 4 women and the rest guys, but I think the top guy averaged almost like above 21 out of 25, and the top female was 20.
Wow.
20 point something. A lot better than I can shoot, that's for
Algonac
sure.
Lions sponsored the trap team along with Waterfowlers Association.
Yeah.
To let everybody know that.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, the spring cleanup was May 20th and 21st on Harson's Island. It was well attended. I'm not sure how many dumpsters we went through. We did it differently with the actual trucks there that compacted a lot, and that worked really well. I know we collected 530 tires, and I'll be doing the paperwork for the grant that we received to take care of them. Also, the San Souci Block Party a couple weeks ago was well attended and received a lot of positive feedback. And actually, it was my honor and privilege to speak at the Memorial Day service up in Algonac, put on by the VFW, and that was well attended. I bet you they had 250, 300 people there. It was very moving, actually. I don't know, if you drive through town towards the upstream, the north part, there's banners that has all the people who gave the ultimate sacrifice from our communities here that died in serving our country. So stop and take a note. They gave up all their tomorrow so we can have today. And music in the park started last week. We had June 1st in Algonac, had June 2nd on Harson's Island. Those both went well. And the Sip of Summer, the Beer, Wine, and Cocktails Festival, June 3rd, it was last Saturday in Algonac, went very well. I'm told I couldn't attend, but it was a sellout, and I heard the band was pretty good too. So that's all I have, my supervisor's report. Public comments. Do we have any public comments? Any public comments? You can come on up to the podium and,
Okay. Public comments, you mean like talking about something
yeah,
that's regarding the city and stuff?
yeah, whatever
Okay,
you
I
want.
just have a simple question.
Sure. Oh,
I
you
heard-
got, what's your name and address?
My name is Peggy Williams. I live at 5900 Point Trumbull Road,
Okay.
M29, heavy traffic. I was concerned about the beach area that was supposed to be developing. I heard 2 years ago that Algonac and Clay were going to try to work on having a beach, and that's my comment, so that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, actually, well, it's a county beach, and there's if you go out on the left side, there's a master plan of it you can take a look at.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Any other public comments?
Karen Diebel, 270 Bar Harbor, Harson's Island, Michigan. I had a few questions in regards to the new proposal sites for the sewage plants that are being presented. One of them is, what if proposed to be on by Bar Harbor, what would be the percentage of house value decreasage? Also, my next question was in regards to why not push for it to be the Harson's Island landfill, utilize the wetland plants that have been noted by the DNR to actually filter any type of waste. So if there is any byproduct, which obviously I haven't read up on most of it, so I'm still in the research process, but knowing plants the way I do, the wetlands would automatically filter any byproduct waste that would potentially leak from the plant. My next question was, in rating of noise level, what decimal would this be intrusive if it is by a public area or residential? And how close can it be legally to a resident? Because some of the houses on Bar Harbor are well within 100, 200 feet of the proposed project area. And also, why isn't the township property on Columbine being considered? Is it just too small? And lastly, is there going to be a meeting soon in regards to educating the Harson's Island public in regards to this?
Are you done yet?
Yep.
Okay. We'll probably be able to answer a lot of your questions on this item 2 of our agenda. And as far as a public hearing or a town hall, we're waiting for the studies to get done, which haven't quite gotten done yet.
What is the proposed estimated time for that?
Well, I'm not totally sure yet until I talk to him. So shortly,
Okay.
all right?
And then the noise, you went to the Indiana plant?
Oh, yeah, it's very,
But did they give you any estimate in regards to like decimal and the outer? Is
it's
there
very
any?
small. Less than a radio.
Okay. That kind of gauges it. And what about the proposal of the other property the township owns?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, any other public comments?
Good evening, Kathy Schweikart, Harson's Island. Kind of following up on, I'll call it the algae wheel septic treatment plant. I'm here on behalf of San Souci Bar, and in particular, Robert Coombs is our general manager, is not able to be here tonight. So I'm going to stand in and just kind of educate what happened recently with Artie and him as far as emails going back and forth. Artie reached out to Bob on June 1st and just basically said, I'm going to have our environmental engineer from ASTI on the island for a full day in a couple of weeks. I'll have her take a look at your property if that is okay, and if you can give us a quick letter of support for the treatment plant project. Attaches the primary piece of property we are now considering. I unfortunately didn't get the attachment, but I also know later on in 1B from PCE, there's 3 proposal sites, so I'm going to presume it was one of those 3. So, on Monday, June 5th, which would obviously be today, this is Bob Coombs' response to Artie's email. Hello, Artie. I fully support any septic or treatment plant for the town of San Souci. As you know, we have been proposing the installation of a field on Maple Street, but have run into issues with EGLE. On your project, I am wondering if the scope is so large that the implementation may take many years, and will the residents accept such a project? Would it be something that could be scaled in phases, beginning with a town and then building into outlining areas, i.e. South Channel, Green Drive, etc.? I applaud your efforts and believe study in the areas of carbon credits and resident participation in particular would bring more light to the overall viability. Another concern is the availability of federal funding for a larger project versus a smaller project. Is it the position of the government that they will fund only a larger project and that the town itself is too small, making the larger project the only option? Or can we just do the similar project to give immediacy to the needs of the town and then project out from there? I apologize for having more questions than answers, but we do need to push forward for the sake of the island. Let me know if I can be of any help. So with that, I also emailed today, probably this afternoon, to Artie, our property that we have on Maple Street. We did have a wetlands delineation conducted, and it's a 29-page report, which I'm sure you're probably going to share with PCE here, I would take a guess. We also have been in contact with Alexis Grande, is how I'm going to say her name, and she responded because we also sent her the 29-page delineation report. Also had his conversation, not me personally, but on my Bruce Schweikart did with Melissa Feraldo on that. So there's a lot of moving parts going on. So if nothing else, I wanted to make sure the whole board was aware of what we're still trying to do. And we will go from there. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to contact me, Bob, and or Bruce. We have more probably intimate knowledge than I do.
But your property, they deemed it wetlands,
They
right?
deemed it upland wetlands,
Yeah,
which is pretty much Harson's Island.
Yep.
It's all
Okay.
Harson's Island. If you go on the Eagles wetlands delineation map, pretty much Harson's Island is what it is.
Yep.
So that's their new terminology. Not maybe new, but that's the terminology they used. So, but Harson's Island isn't a flood zone. That's what we are. So.
I've got one. Do you have a copy of that letter you were reading off?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
The email,
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
I can provide you a copy. I have my
Artie
scribble.
said he has a copy.
Okay, there you go. Which also kind of ties us back to when we were here, please don't quote me, I would want to say the beginning of May, I think maybe Mark, and I don't know who supported the motion of having I'm going to call it like you said, a town hall meeting on the island. Because I know, Artie, you have done the field, I'm going to call it the field trip for the algae plant. I don't know how many people attended, but there's definitely people who attended. Got some positive feedback, still more questions. Personally, I think it would be of a great benefit for this board to take the time and energy to go to Harson's Island and have a township informational meeting in regards to this. Because this project has gone from San Souci Bar trying to do something for the town, and we've been working on this for over a year for the town, to now where we're at, there's maybe 3 possible different sites. There's a lot, it's just grown in scope, and there's just a lot of information going around that's accurate, inaccurate, and I think these board members here would be wise to come to the
That's the
island.
plan. We're going, once we get the
And I
question.
understand that, but I just would like to reiterate it.
We don't
because
want to have a town hall meeting where we know the questions that are going to be asked to us before we have the answers.
And unfortunately, I know everything moves slowly, like the carbon credit study.
Yep.
Maybe we'll hear if that's completed or not, but on your agenda also happens to be another item asking for another $14,769.50. So as a community is questioning, what are you doing? What's the scope of the project? Like you, I don't have an answer because this seems to be a moving target. So with that being said, I know the last time we were here, Christy Hiltunen had suggested, was it the ARPA funds, maybe using it for part of that study? And so I'm just making comments because this is the part that we have comments, and hopefully we can get some answers during this particular meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Swiker?
Yep.
What,
Kathy, but go
okay,
ahead.
what is your next step
Meaning,
with reference to the sanitation or the sewage
for San
on
Souci.
the island for San Souci?
I hate to do hearsay upon hearsay, but I'm going to say this. My husband has been in direct contact with, like I said, Marissa Feraldo, Paul McAdams, within the last week to 2 weeks since we got our wetlands delineation report. Also with Will Cameron for St. Clair County. And there does seem to be some feedback from, I'll call it the higher-ups, whether it's the senators or whoever. There seems to maybe be a more willingness from all the parties to start looking at what we're proposing, because we made like 4 different proposals. We'll do what you want. We will be self-funded for the town. We were trying to do it for the whole town, in particular our bar, San Souci. So we're still moving along with that, but we don't want to not be supportive if there's another alternative. For us, right now, San Souci Bar is going to be pumping hall. Not ideal. It is a terrible situation.
Okay.
So therefore, we are pushing ahead as hard as we can to get the people, whether it's an EGLE or senators, to help maybe write an exception, because it's not like we're trying to create something that's not already in existence. We're trying to make it a better system for the whole downtown. In particular, it started because of San Souci. But we're still moving forward, hopefully in conjunction with this board, and maybe we can have a resolution for all concerned. But some of these projects may take way longer than we want to spend for pumping or hauling time and energy and licensing and all the stuff that goes with it. So that's the best I can give you at this point, but we, within the last week, have talked to those people I've mentioned. If you have any questions, I encourage anybody on this board, reach out to me. I can give you the direct numbers to contact the people who talk directly with these people, which would be Bruce Schweikart, Bob Coombs. Artie's obviously been talking to different people, or the same people, some of them. So,
Okay, we're getting a little off the track here on public comments, but I also want to tell you too, I'm trying to be proactive on your behalf. We're checking in with EGLE if you can pump and haul and deliver it to the old club sanitation plant.
and that's the first I've heard of that, which is great.
Right,
We all
right.
appreciate that, but
So-
we have not had any communication in that, which I greatly appreciate knowing
So
that today.
I'm.
So good.
So
Right.
they're not sure. They're looking at, there could be a capacity issue, but
be.
maybe they could utilize it in the shoulder seasons. I don't know. So.
No, I appreciate knowing that. I'm sure the rest of our group would also like to know that too.
Yep,
in
well, I
particular.
just made the phone call here.
No, that's perfect.
So-
And Kathy,
Yeah.
you said your property's on Maple?
We own 4 lots in Maple. It adjoins.
Because that's not one of the 3
It
proposed.
is not. It's
No.
right next to Wise Org's property.
Okay.
It's at the end of Maple. On the right, it's 4 separate lots that are residential, and that's right next to Wise Org's property.
All right,
All
thank
right?
you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Hearing none. Move right along to the consent agenda. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the board meeting minutes from May 15th and May 24th, and check reports for in between both of those meetings, board approved bills from 5/15 and 5/24, and the May payroll report.
Support.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, next under new business, we have John Johnson from Nickel and Saph here. is going to talk about the thrilling and adventurous life of insurance.
Fire chief.
Oh, I'm sorry. John, sit down, I forgot. Fire chief report.
Yeah, it's not on
There is
here.
no fire
but
chief
It's
report.
not, on- what's that?
There's no fire
There
chief.
is no fire chief report. That's,
I'm looking at the computer.
It says it on
Yeah.
the computer, yeah. But
Sorry.
Sorry.
it's all right.
Would you like me to do it?
You can get back up.
John, you're up.
Get back up there. Get back up there. 'Cause I'm looking, I don't see it.
No,
All
it's
right.
not, it's not on there. I apologize. I should have deleted it off of the
Okay.
computer.
All right.
I saw it too.
So Johnson, he's with Nickel and Saph, and we asked him to give us his best deal he could, and I'm happy with it, but go right ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Bryson. As Ms. Bryson said, my name is John Johnson. Go by John N. Johnson because there's two of us in this industry, so I have to delineate myself. I'm with Nickel and Saph Insurance Agency, and we were called upon to produce competitive proposals this year for your property and liability insurance. In doing that, we were able to produce two companies that were interested. One is a company called Trident, and the other one is Travelers. And I have to give kudos to Miss Cindy Valentine. She was fantastic to work with, and on top of all of this, I couldn't have gotten it taken care of if she wasn't on my side. So I really appreciate that with the prompt responses and everything. It's hard to find in this industry. So the product that we're going to be producing for you this year is through Travelers. They're going to be saving you about $17,000, which can help with the wastewater treatment plant fund, that can help with salaries to increase some people's salaries, and many different features within your budget, saving you $17,000. We're going to speak about the liability. You're going to have all the same liabilities that you had previously, the general liability, the public officials, the law enforcement, the employment practice, and then, of course, the auto liability that comes with that. Your property is going to actually be increased by $5 million. That's a substantial increase. Travelers found that some of the valuations in this current marketplace, as you foresee in the housing markets or commercial properties for say, they have increased greatly, and they used that $5 million to bump up and do the forecast of what it would cost to replace or rebuild and refurbish to like kind and state of matter. The next feature I'd like to speak about is the defense expenses for you guys. Your public officials, your law enforcement, and your auto is all going to be outside the limits of liability, so they have the duty to defend you even if it's a claim that is not foreseeable in terms of that they're supposed to be defending you. So it's a huge benefit for you, and having the defense expenses outside the limit is a major bonus on top of that, so it doesn't erode or take away from the limits that are provided to you. Another feature that comes with it is $1 million of sewer backup coverage. You guys are doing that IRA, the Algonac, and the Clay wastewater treatment plant deal. We take care of Algonac, and we personally take care of IRA as well. So we're instrumental in getting that all in play, and the sewer limits we felt as though is comfortable because there's going to be coverage on both sides for that benefit that's coming through in the future for you. There's another couple things that we have here in terms of bonuses that aren't based upon the product itself. It's based upon the company that I represent, and they do reimbursements for certain things for citizen zoning planning that could be occurring in your township, that sort of deal. You guys can go to certain conferences that are all around the state, and we would provide some reimbursement for that as well. We've got a professional grant writer that we can give you access to, partial or full reimbursement, because I know grants are a major thing. I was just reading online actually today that there's this huge grant going around for the state for your law enforcement department. They're giving $10,000, so you guys can be a part of that. I can send you the information as soon as I get back home tonight or tomorrow if you're interested in that. And then we have vendors that are extremely good at what they do. One that I personally brought into the office here was CARE. They take care of a lot of HR type of deals, so human resources and that type of stuff. We've got connections with another company called OSS Law Enforcement. They were instrumental with dealing with Macomb County's jail, Dearborn's jail. And then just to top it off, the carrier that we've decided to go with, hopefully today, Travelers, they directly relate to Dearborn, Taylor, Shelby Township. They're providing the coverages for them. So they're reputable. They've been around in our company since the fruition of us, basically. And I'm pleased to answer any questions that you may have for anything that I've spoke on today.
Just to let the board know, I believe 2 years ago, we were paying about $133,000 in liability insurance township-wide. Last year, it was pretty much about 120 grand, and this year we're looking at, 101, almost 102,000. So I like the trend to go down, and I know we were with Trident before.
Yes, sir.
As our underwriter, and Travelers is doing a better job. I've dealt with Travelers before in the past. I didn't have any problems with them, and I don't know, do you deal with them at all, Chris?
Yeah, no issues.
Yeah, so.
And right now in this marketplace is an insurance term that many might know or might not, is it's called a hardening market. And the reason that is obviously COVID had a substantial problem back then, and everybody was working from home. Nobody was going anywhere. So in the insurance industry, they lower their risk tolerance because they feel as though, okay, we don't have to save as much money because there's not as many claims in any of these things, workers' comp-wise and to the whole just general liability. You don't have residents coming into your boardrooms and things like that. Everybody started going back to work and claims rose. So their tolerance level, when they lowered it, claims came back up. They have to reforecast. So many of them are doing adjustments right now in pricing. So that's why it was good to get Trident and Travelers in the mix here for us. Being an independent agency, we can reach out to many other carriers as well. But those were the two best that we felt comfortable presenting to you. And luckily, they came through with the pricing because right now it is really hard. We're seeing on average anywhere between 10 to 16% increase on our normal companies that we take care of in municipalities. So.
And also just to let the board know, the wastewater treatment plant authority is looking also with, working with Don Johnson, or John Johnson, and Johnson, right?
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
On insurance for the treatment plant too. That was with a different underwriter. That was with.
Yes, we're going to be using Glatfelter for that.
Yes, okay.
They are a little bit smaller.
Right.
They have
More
thresholds. Correct, that too.
Yep. All right, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do. John, in terms of quoting the policy this year versus, I'm sure you took a good hard look at what you quoted us last year.
Yes.
As a township, are we giving up coverage in any facet, in any field, in order to receive a discounted rate?
So the difference between the two policies is Trident grants separate limits of liability. So you have a base limit of $1 million for all of your liabilities, the general all the way to public and law and auto and so on and so forth for you. And then you have an excess. So they take that and they put an excess on top of each limit. What Travelers does is Travelers gives you that 1 million base, and then they put an excess over all of them. So if you have a claim in general liability, it'll take away from the 5 million if it supersedes the 1. And then if you have a claim in, say, a law or an auto or anything like that, it could take away from the same $5 million bucket. So that's the only difference between the two, for say.
Thank you.
Which, from your history, I don't foresee it being that much of a problem in terms of your claims.
So on a multiple substantial claim year, we assume a little bit more risk if they're large and audacious claims.
Just a bit, and from the 45 years of taking care of municipalities within our office, we've never had one supersede the limits that we've provided to them.
Let alone two. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the traveler's liability insurance in the amount of, excuse me, $101,845.
Support.
Your budget line?
We have motion support. It gets dispersed out through
All of them?
All of them.
Okay.
One thing too is we always put in an extra rider for terrorism,
Saw that.
and it's included in travelers. Am I right?
That you are right.
Okay. So,
Can you, the enhancements, seminars,
I'm sure they'll give us some information on that.
It's got a page on it.
all right, disregard.
Okay.
I can present that to you right now if you'd like.
And- Any more, yeah, he's got that.
Yeah. I got it.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Christy Hiltonen.
Yes.
Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Maureen Bory.
Yes,
John DeBoyer.
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes.
Okay, motion passed. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We'll be
Thank
working
you.
with you.
Yes. Look forward to it.
Yes. Okay, next, we have a proposal for site evaluations for the Huryn wastewater treatment plant. Total of $14,769.50. And Anthony's here to talk about it and anything else. I didn't talk to you today, so.
Yeah, that's okay. So, so just before I get started into that, I do have preliminary results for the carbon credit study. So, the report isn't done yet, but she sent me a preliminary. And so the way we modeled it is based on a lagoon of a size large enough and of enough volume and of a retention time long enough to meet potential permits that we would receive from EGLE. So we have to kind of know that our discharge would be meeting those limits at the same time, size accordingly, and then there's some geographic features which are common throughout Harson's. You know, we can't make it too deep. We have groundwater issues, things like that. So with that being said, the results that we have are there's two parts to the methane release. So there's methane that's in the liquid that's constantly being released, and then there's methane in the sludge that as the seasons happen, there's a turnover. And so there's a fall and a spring turnover. So the turnover is a little bit harder for us to prove during validation, so that's why we're finishing up that model. But as it stands now, we're at 6 pounds of methane per day that escape from the liquid form, and 19.8 pounds of methane that escape per day from the sludge. Obviously, the difference is it's not daily when it comes from the sludge. It's a period. So that's why we have to, that will need to be finalized in the report. But that gives us a ton a year of methane from the liquid, and 3.6 tons a year if we finish our model for the sludge. So that's methane is 28 times more potent of a greenhouse gas than CO2. So we multiply by 28 to get our carbon credits. So that's 28 tons of equivalent CO2 a year from the liquid, and 100.8 tons of equivalent CO2 a year from the sludge. So potentially it could amount to in the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 range of carbon credit value per year. That's kind of I really do think it'll be in the 20 to 30 range. The minimum is 13 where it stands if it was just traded as like the daily rate. But that's kind of gives you a ballpark of where we're at. And we'll have a final report in a month, well, this month. Sure, go ahead.
Who would be the customers for those carbon credits?
Sure. So I give you one example as one that's actually interested in wanting to buy the carbon credits from us is Waste Management. So Waste Management has a commitment to reduce their CO2 emissions by 15% annually, and they've also committed to a 30% reduction by 2030. I think it's 60% or 70% reduction by 2040, and they want to be net zero by 2050, which is in line with most big companies. They have to meet those cap and trade and carbon
So
standards.
there's strong potential?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I've
Microsoft,
actively talked to them. So.
Automobile companies, I mean, there's tons of, all the power electric companies.
Well, I would just like to make sure that we
Yeah,
have
they
somebody
line up
that's
for
going
it.
to do it before we
Oh, yeah, there's plenty.
turn the power on.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, they line up for it. In fact, at the end, at a certain period of time, they have to meet their requirements, and they pay, 8 times, 16 times over the commodity rate in order to meet their goals. So, commodity rate trades at 120. The best one right now is 120 euros a metric ton. So that's where we're at.
So is that 20 to 40,000 credits per year, Anthony? Or
Dollars.
Dollars.
Yeah,
Okay.
credits would be like, I'm hoping we'll be able to prove 128 credits per year.
Now, you base that on what capacity as far as the
25,000 gallons per day.
25,000 gallons?
Yeah, just for the little, the production that we were expecting in the business district and the localized area there. So
there could-
that's preliminary numbers.
You're saying there could possibly be a bidding war on these credits? Because
There would be. That's
Okay.
how it works. Yeah, it's like, it goes through a brokerage, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that being said, we've already looked at the collection system aspect that was in the last meeting, but now we needed to look at, in more depth at where this plant could be located. So we did some digging around, but we also had some meetings with some senators. So one of the main things that came up in terms of acquiring funding, and that's the appropriations that's happening this month in June up in Lansing, is the potential of using a brownfield or a cleanup of a brownfield to help gain the necessary appropriations that we need. We would probably be getting over half of it from the state, and then the rest could come from the federal government. So that's what we've been told, that it would likely be a two-part appropriation.
Can you explain what a brownfield is?
Yeah, so a brownfield is like an old abandoned site that has had pollution in its past, and that is typically when you do anything to that site, there's an environmental assessment that's done. So there's a phase 1, phase 2 environmental assessment that are done to indicate that you're not going to be releasing anything or that you're going to be cleaning up to a certain level. And so those things are highly funded, highly favored when it comes to appropriations. So that's why the landfill site became priority number 1. It isn't as close as we'd like it to be to Sans Souci, but it's a site that has a lot of potential from the Brownsfield perspective. And the force main to take it from Sans Souci to there is probably adding maybe $1 million to the cost. So, that has to weigh itself out in appropriations. If that's going to make sense, that it costs more, but that the money's free, or that other sites will be $1 million less, but we might not get as much funding in appropriations. So that's all going to be, we're going to vet all that and bring all those options to the board, and you guys will decide which direction you want to take. But the other aspect is, like was previously mentioned, wetlands. And so that's why we need to get through a wetlands and streams assessment, preliminary assessment, to determine, what's regulated by the state or the Army Corps. And so that's what this proposal is about. We picked 3 sites because our expert can come from Brighton, do that much work in one day and leave and keep the cost down. And so that's kind of why we chose that route. We've had 2 or 3 discussions with Kevin Wazorek, in which he directly offered a specific part of his property that he would be open to getting the township, if it would work, with the wetlands, right? And that issue, the wetlands, is more likely on Kevin's stuff than it is on Tajmu or the landfill. The landfill, there is uplands. It's sort of like peninsulas of uplands. What we need, and it opens up in one spot. It opens up quite a bit. So, so that one, we just want to see how the treatment plant could fit on the area, the geometry of the site, because that'd be important. When it comes to the back of Tajmu, there's none of that that's in the wetlands maps. So, we think there's a high hope that wouldn't be a waste of time for the expert. But while they're there already in that location, then anything that Kevin's got would be the 3rd site visit in one day, right? That we can accomplish and and so that's why at those ends of those streets, Poplar, Elm, and even Maple, which Kevin's property goes all the way up to that, she'll be able to look at. But we obviously don't want to go down a dead end in terms of the wetlands, because that would not be a good use of funds. So we want a good candidate site to come out of that trip, and then we can start talking about it further. We figure that by this month we'll also know what they're going to do with appropriations in Lansing. We've been pushing very hard to try to get attention. I mean, I had to recruit the city of St. Clair Shores that wants a water tower to be saved as a landmark to get the attention of the senator from there, who's also our state senator, to then say, hey, let's do a bipartisan bill for Harson's Island and then for the people of St. Clair Shores, right?
They're horned owl.
And they have a horned owl on their water tower. So that's how much dancing we've had to do to try to get their attention. But it's been pretty successful in terms of the way that they've spoken about it. And they've also said that the money they're getting is ARPA money from the state, and that ARPA money is easily spent on water and wastewater projects. So that was really good to hear. The only reason the St. Clair Shores will probably be lucky is because their senators from there, and they only wanted $500,000 for the water towers. So, they might be able to get it, but it's not really a category that sees much funding. So, and that's how bipartisan bills work, right? So they lump things together, and they have nothing to do with one another, and it goes through. So, so we've even gone to that extent to try to help. So, so that's where we're at. The results of this proposal will be hand-drawn maps, so the aerial photos from our wetlands expert, which we'll put into CAD, and then we'll lay out the sites and size the facility to see how it would fit, how tight will the fit be in the sites that we evaluate, and then we'll update our cost estimates, being that some are closer to the district and some are farther away, so that we can present that in a table. And then I'll attend the 3 meetings, 2 with the owners and 1 with the owners being the township and any potential property owners, and then the town hall on Harson's Island, which we hope to have soon.
That's part of this, right?
That's part of this.
Yep. That's what.
So, and we can show our findings and get input and answer any questions that the residents of the island might have.
Yeah. Now, I know you and I have been talking about, we think the most optimal one now, I call it the old dump.
Yeah.
Just because it's killing 2 birds with 1 stone, it's cleaning up a Brownsfield.
Yeah.
And it could be a great location for this plant. And if we're allowed to use enough of that property, it would be a great collection potentially for most of the island down the road. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, well, the location of it's central.
Right.
So, and as long as we have enough available land from the delineation,
Yep.
that'll tell us, what kind of expandability it has. But, right now we're looking at just a sized for 25,000.
Exactly.
They had mentioned about, is appropriations favor big or small? Small. It would be the simple answer, because the bigger the money, the more cost share they want. I mean, it's the same percentage, but the more money will have to come up in terms of a cost share. And also, it's just harder to find. You're up against bigger competitors, so you need to stand out even more. So, I mean, we're a pretty ideal pilot project. I mean, it would be something that they'd be able to put a feather in their cap that they've done both in a carbon offset and a environmental project, environmental cleanup, and wastewater infrastructure, which is everything right now, water and wastewater resources.
Anthony, how much more time do you think that it would take to, if we should select the landfill site versus another property that doesn't have that Brownsfield cleanup?
To build, it wouldn't take much more time. It's just the force main install. I've seen a force main that size going up in East China, and they did it in a month with all the blow-offs, a month and a half. So it wouldn't be a big impact on the timetable. I was in a meeting today at 2 o'clock with Algae Wheel and EGLE. So that was the first introductory meeting. So Chris Hall, I believe his name, was there, who's the EGLE's technology advisor. That was probably the smoothest meeting I've ever had with EGLE in my whole career. They had no challenging questions. He showed them plants in Indiana and New York and Illinois and Ohio and all the 10 states. And they basically said, we look forward to seeing your permit application. So that was you know, Laura Verona left early, actually. She had all her questions answered, and she left. So, you know, that's a first. So, that looks very promising.
Do we have to go through EGLE though? Because I know the Supreme Court, they limited federal powers over wetlands if they're a certain area away from the water.
Well, we will need our discharge permit for the treatment plant. So that's an EGLE issued discharge permit, but that's it. When it comes to the site and everything, once we've got our wetlands delineation, we're all set. Yeah.
But then it's $1 billion to connect to our brownfield. That's our only hiccup, right?
$1 million.
Oh, $1 million. I thought you said $1 billion. Like $1 million.
Pesos, maybe
$1 million. Okay. All right, $1 million to get
But
to
yeah,
San Souci.
A little extra, yeah, and that's just the directional drill. I could be conservative in that number. Directional drilling, we drove the site and walked it, and there's only a couple little spots where like the telephone poles get close to LaCroix there, like it gets tight as you come out of San Souci, but then they go away from the road, and it's pretty easy at that point, and then you can go under the Crispin right there to get to the site. So it might be less than $1 million. To force main it, and we've got a lot of good directional drilling companies here in Southeast Michigan. So
That's about $4 million for the plant, 3.8 or something.
3 point something.
So it's like a
and
$5 million
yeah,
project.
less than 5. Yep.
Yeah, I know that's
Worst
a lot
case.
of money, but in
It is
the
a lot,
grand
yeah.
scheme of things, it's really not as far as projects. Am I right, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a lift for the users.
Oh, yeah.
If they were to carry the burden on their own shoulders.
Yeah.
But with the help of upfront cost help, I think that it'll be a very affordable plant once it's in, especially if we can offset it with $13,000 in maintenance costs that can be from the carbon credit sales, et cetera. So that would be the only thing is that initial upfront cost, which most projects have that problem, right? There's a lot of these small facilities out there. They're building them every day, and how they justify the initial upfront cost is many different ways, right? Some of it's just to prevent an environmental disaster, So it's all just a calculation up front. So in order to kind of be ready for what we need to have ready for the residents, that's why I came up with this proposal. I tried to stay in the confines of the minimum necessity to get data to everyone.
So your proposal is $14,769.50.
Mm-hmm.
Does the board understand that? And
How does that compare with the other 9,000 that was rescinded to us?
Yeah, so I have that here. So the other 9,000 was two parts. One was topographic surveying of the San Souci area for the collection system, and that was in the amount of it was a 7,000. And then the other one was our estimate for the state appropriations request. So we prepared an estimate to send to the senators, to send to the Congress people, to ask them for that $5 million. So that was $1,900.
Has that all been completed? Or-
Yes, all that's done. Yep, I have that here too if you want a breakdown.
But that's not paid for yet, so that's gonna be on top of this, right?
Yeah, that hasn't been paid for, and then, and some of this was, especially the topo part of it, was a rollover from the sod. I mean, we were doing some initial topographic surveying when we were out there anyways, and so it just kind of rolled over into March, which is why you see that.
Any other questions, or does anyone want to make a motion?
Who owns the landfill right now?
Clay Township does.
Township.
Where would the money come from out of our budget?
For what?
The 14,769?
It'd be under the, well, we could talk about it, but it would be out of the sewer department, or the sewer fund, that's what it's.
Okay.
What do you think, Lance? No comment.
Got to do it in order to be ready for everything that's coming ahead.
Board, I'll make a motion to support the project control engineering budget price for the site evaluations in the amount of $14,769.50.
Support.
Okay, a motion and support. Any more discussions now? Or questions for Anthony?
When are you gonna start on this?
If we get approval, I will contact the ASTI tomorrow and try to get on their schedule.
Yeah.
I think they should be able to come out within a week.
I noticed at the bottom, it says, does not include full site assessment, surveys, topographic surveys,
Yeah.
detailed estimates, grant applications, nor construction. I understand all that stuff, but the full site assessment, I mean, I thought that's what this was going to be.
So the full site assessment would mean like the environmental assessments that would be done? That would be when we get funded. So the funding would pay for those, phase
Gonna do
one,
any
phase two.
preliminary core samples or anything, or?
No, we'll do the wetlands related stuff, wetlands and streams, which is kind of the first step. Without the wetlands and streams delineated, we can't see the buildable area. So,
Just want to make it clear.
yep.
Anybody else? Roll call, please.
Christy Hiltonen,
Yes.
Artie Bryson,
Yes.
Mark Bouchard,
Yes.
Maureen Bory,
Yes.
John DeBoyer,
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Chris O'Regan?
Yes?
All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Anthony.
Get started.
All right, next we have to elevate to full-time Roger Boone. He's been working for our DPW or Water Department, it says DPW, for about a year and a half. And he's showing great promise, and I hear good things from your fellow employees, and we'd like to elevate him from part-time to full-time.
I'll make a motion to elevate part-time employee Roger Boone to full-time.
Support.
The motion and support. Roger, do you know how to swim?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Where'd you graduate from high school at?
Algonac right here.
Yeah, he's a local guy, and
Then your parents are here, and family?
No.
No?
Here? What'd you say? I couldn't hear
Your
you. sorry.
parents.
They are local.
Yeah, they are local. Yes.
yep.
Any relation to anybody in the department?
No.
Thank you.
We have room, right, for another full-time, or?
Yeah, well, what we're gonna do, we're gonna be losing someone to retirement here in about 5 months.
Okay.
And basically, we didn't want to lose Roger to you know, he's marketable, he's got skills. And we, you know, in our mind, he's already pretty well trained for the job. He's been here a year and a half. And like I say, we get good feedback about his work ethic. He's always on time. And he's highly motivated, and that's hard to find.
Right, and the retiree has committed that they
Yeah.
are gonna leave, okay. Just wanna make sure there's room.
Yep,
Great.
so,
So how many hours a day you working now as part-time?
8 a day, or 7 a day, or 9 a day. It'd be 36 a week or 35 a week.
So you're more full-time anyways.
Pretty close, pretty close.
It ranges, sometimes 27.
Okay.
Okay.
I would entice you, or hope that you and Ron would take advantage of those classes. Did they tell you about those classes, about running a backhoe and stuff? Yeah, we want to get you guys in those,
Okay.
so. All right, anything else? We have motion and support. All in favor of elevating Roger Boone to full-time in Water Department, signify, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, next we have St. Clair County millage distribution for our Parks and Rec. We have to officially accept it before they'll give it to us. And that's what we're doing tonight, hopefully. Clay Township's in line to receive $45,412. That will go in our Parks and Rec fund. This is off from what we used to get since our census. You know, we lost money in our census. And I've always argued this because we send them money up to Port Huron to the parks based on value, but they give us a refund or the rebate based on people that are homesteaded, and they don't give us anything for the non-homestead people, which is half of our residents. So they're well aware of that.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 request for local millage distribution.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Any discussion?
How much is it?
$45,412. We have motion and support. Do we need yeah, we better just do a roll call on this. Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Maureen Bory.
Yes.
John DeBoyer.
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Christy Hiltonen.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next, we have Resolution 2023-13 to set the annual FOIA salary for a FOIA coordinator, and this went up 5%, right, Cindy?
Yep. Make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-13 for the FOIA coordinator salary.
Support.
Motion and support
And what is for your?
for processing all the FOIA requests.
Freedom of Information Act.
Make sure people know about it.
Yep, which we get a
We have all
ton
these-
of them.
We have all these acronyms in here, and half the people don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, they know.
Pretty much everybody knows what FOIA
They know.
is. So,
Well, that's what you say.
Can't hurt to tell them, right?
yep. All right, we have motion and support. Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Maureen Bory.
Yes.
John DeBoyer.
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Christy Hiltonen.
Yes.
Artie Bryson.
Yes. Motion passes. Next, we have resolution to set the Parks and Rec coordinator salary.
Board, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2023-14 to set the annual Parks and Rec coordinator salary.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
Everybody gets 5%, right?
Yep. All right, roll call.
Maureen Bory,
Yes.
John DeBoyer,
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Chris Regan,
Yes.
Christy Hiltonen,
Yes.
Artie Bryson,
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next, we have resolution to set the annual deputies' salary.
I'll make a motion to approve, excuse me, Resolution 2023-15 to set the annual deputy salary.
Support.
We have motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
John DeBoyer,
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Chris Regan,
Yes.
Christy Hiltonen,
Yes.
Artie Bryson,
Yes.
Mark Bouchard,
Yes.
Maureen Bory.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we have motion to set the meeting dates for the following year. We do have two on Harson's Island, back on the island again. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-16, setting the 2023-2024 meeting dates.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
I'd like to see at least 3 or 4. People have been asking for more meetings on the island. See, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, it's an added expense for us to have it over there too.
Well, there's 23. I mean, everybody has to pay $10 or $15 to be here coming
No,
from the
they
island.
don't.
Well, if they
Well-
want to go home, they do.
Some people may be working or something. I mean,
Well, I mean, there's 23 meetings, so 2 is less than 10%. How much more does it cost to have a meeting on the island?
video, it's not, I mean, a couple $100.
Well, a couple $100 isn't that much, to kind of help the islanders out. I mean, I think 4 is reasonable out of 23 meetings. That's, not even 20% of the time.
Whatever the board's pleasure.
How does everybody else feel about it? Is it just me? I don't know. People have been coming up here asking that question. Why can't you have more meetings on the island?
And we're having 2.
Yeah, well, 2 out of 23 is not very many.
What are you
Right.
proposing?
I'm proposing 4.
Whatever the board pleasure. I don't mind going, I mean, I kind of enjoy them over there myself, but I don't enjoy paying added costs, so.
Well, how many what about the residents in Harson's Island? How many would they like to see?
Probably all of them.
Well,
You know, a lot easier for them.
No.
You want 4, 2, 1?
I mean, a lot of times that's who comes to attend these meetings. I mean, if you asked them, they'd probably say 10. So at least doubling the proposal to 4 is something. I mean, if you want to table this, we
No,
can
we need to pass it now.
ask.
Well, you have
I mean-
motion and support. I mean,
We
we can
have
always
motion.
amend it later on.
Yeah, we have motion and support for this. If you wanted to throw, see, the problem with it, you have ice in the March and April and February.
Well, do another one in the November and another one in the summer or something.
September to November, though, that's October, November, weeks.
You could do December 4th and July 17th. It would not interfere with ice.
Maureen, why don't you propose one of those dates? I think you'd get better support, and then we could look to maybe amend.
Well, let's go for December 4th, then. I make a motion to
But
add.
Christie already has a motion
Oh,
for the
sorry.
resolution, so she would have to amend it.
Right. You want to amend the,
So we're amending for December 4th.
if you want.
I'll amend the motion to have the December 4th meeting on the island.
In addition to the 18th and the 20th of May, right? September 18th and May 20th. I support that.
Well, who supported originally?
You.
Okay, I support. I support the amended.
Thank you.
Still.
Okay, so we have amended,
December 4th meeting.
yep, to add December 4th on the island also.
Yep.
All right, I'll have to get a hold of Lions Hall, make sure they are available too, so. All right, does everybody understand the motion and amended motion?
What is the date?
December 4th is the added
It's a
one.
Monday. Yeah.
Everyone understand the amended motion? Okay, roll call, please.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Christy Hiltonen.
Yes.
Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Maureen Bory.
Yes.
John DeBoyer.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution 2023-17, setting sewer rates. These go into effect in July for 1 year.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-17, setting the sewer rates for the 23-24 fiscal year.
Support.
Okay, a motion and support. Any discussion?
How did we arrive at this figure?
We had a rate study done 5 years ago that went out, that goes out through next year. And we also have been working on software budgeting with Anthony at PCE.
Does this take into account
How much did it go?
our big projects coming up?
5%. Yes.
So 4.6% puts us in a good position to accommodate what's coming down the pipe?
From what we see so far, yes. Pardon your pun, right? Coming down the pipe.
Thanks
So
for picking
is the
that up.
7480 also a 5% increase? 7480 per quarter?
I'm not sure. I pulled it from
Whatever was in the rate study.
whatever was in the rate study for this year.
Okay.
That was below the 5%.
Lance, do you know what the quarterly charge is currently?
I'm guessing, but I think it's 73.20 or 72.30.
It's less than $1, I know that.
Going up less than $1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 72, going up to 73.20.
It's $74.80 per quarter.
Yeah.
All right, any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call, vote please.
Chris O'Regan.
Yes.
Christy Hiltonen.
Yes.
Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Maureen Bory.
Yes.
John DeBoyer.
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we have the how do you pronounce that?
Granicus.
Granicus agenda software that Cindy uses to renew for $3,600. Entertain a motion.
Board, I'll make a motion to approve the Granicus software annual fee in the amount of $3,606.
Support.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any discussion?
So will this software correct when I get documents that are upside down?
Like this one?
Like this one?
It does not, as a matter of fact.
There's a little arrow on your computer, you can spin
Yeah.
it, Mark.
I know.
My apologies.
All right, any more discussion?
I like this software,
Yeah, I do too.
right? From where we started, 7, 8 years ago to
Yeah.
what we've progressed to. I mean, I'm sure it must be decent for you to be recommending renewing. I'm sure there's a lot of data entry for you, but
There's some bugs with it, but it's much more workable. I like the end product. I like it
From
being
my
on the
point
website.
of having the hot links and having that information be accessible
Yep.
is key.
Is Granicus a nationwide firm?
Yes.
I believe so.
How does it compare with last year's rates? Same or a little more?
A little bit more. They gave us a 3-year pricing, so they're just sticking with their pricing proposal.
Like $100 more or something?
Something around there, I believe.
You got the budget line, it's already in the budget, so, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
It's split between us, zoning, and planning.
Anybody who uses, benefits from it. No more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we have a litigation settlement from the Huryn, is it, versus Clay. And I actually received an email from our attorney today at 12:30. It says, attached you will find copies of the proposed CJ executed by counsel for Huryn and Corcat. You can advise the board with certainty, yes, that both approved the proposed CJ, and there will not be any other further changes or additions from Huryn or Corcat. So basically, she says, all the other parties agreed to it. Essentially, they're moving a fence on the back east side 5 feet over, and that's the resolution.
Can I ask a question real quick? She just stepped down.
Yeah,
Is she supposed to be in this room or is she supposed to leave?
well, she just has to be off the board.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I believe the email that we received said that we were to discuss it in open session.
yes,
That we
we're
weren't
supposed
allowed
to
have it in
discuss it in
closed
open session.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Right, okay.
So, we didn't really get any details, I mean, didn't
I think
see
I emailed it out.
Yeah, and there was
Oh,
an
okay.
email that got sent out late.
Yeah, because it
Didn't have a
wasn't
chance to read it.
ready for the packet.
was it
Who
just
had
this
it changed?
afternoon, or?
I
Oh, here
read
it is.
Changed from since.
Yes.
Sent it out.
Yeah.
They have agreement.
They
Yeah, I know
made-
they have an agreement, but I read 2 days ago, has it been updated?
No,
Or anything?
same.
It's the same?
Yeah.
The judgment's still the same, right?
Right.
Okay.
If we approve it.
consent and judgment, we have to agree to it also. The other two parties that affects more directly than us has agreed to it.
And so our planner agreed to it, Artie?
Yes.
And our building official?
Yep, I believe so. I
And I
sent it out to them all.
And our
Did
fire
our fire
chief.
chief look at it?
Are you good with it now, George?
Myself and building department, we discussed it last week.
Yep. Yeah, they still have the hydrants and,
2-hour firewall, and then the gates are supposed to be accessible, so both fire lanes are accessible for the fire trucks to get down. That's at the north side and the south side of the complex.
Okay.
Board, I'll make a motion to approve the litigation settlement in the matter of Huryn versus Clay.
Support.
okay, we have motion and support. Any more discussion?
How does this impact the ZBA and the planning commission?
It really doesn't. I mean, it comes to, there was litigation filed, and, it's up to this board to decide for it. They had a consent judgment the parties signed off on, and like I said, we sent it to all our department heads. Nobody had problems with it. And the only difference is they're moving a back fence on the east side 5 feet in and allows more property or more space for the adjacent property.
Is that gonna be in compliance with the setback ordinances,
Yes,
according to the judge or according to our plan?
both,
Well, the planner agreed to it.
yes.
That
He
doesn't
signed
make any
off.
difference to me.
Oh, well, you
If
just
it's-
asked.
Being on the planning commission, if it's against the ordinances,
But it's not, the planner said, and the building inspector said is within our ordinance.
Yeah, the building official Gary Bureau, Fire Chief Rose, and planner Steve Cass. and all
okay,
in
I just
agreement.
want to make that point.
Yep,
What is the money, what does this cost us?
nothing,
Oh, okay. Just had to come to an agreement.
yeah.
We just have to prove it.
They've come to an agreement.
They
Right.
Just
come to
have
the
to either
agreement,
support it or
We have to support it, yeah.
not
Right.
support it.
or we can say no and let them battle it out in court, which does nobody any good.
Not if there's a consent
No,
agreement.
no,
Just
so,
They're not no
relocate
longer
the
deadlocked.
fence.
right. So we have motion and support. Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Chris?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Artie, yes. Mark?
Yes.
Maureen.
Maureen?
Yes.
You almost called it Joanne.
Yeah, no. John?
Yes.
It's
Okay,
glued
motion
down.
carries.
It's taped down.
You can come back now. All right, last is set, meeting for budget amendments, June 29th, 2023 at 10 a.m. We always have to make budget amendments at the end of the fiscal year, just to fine tune if anything's out of whack. And in years past, I say years, 5, 6 years and before, it always made me nervous. This board would say to the treasurer, we give you authority to make any budget amendments that you deem necessary. That always made me nervous, and also, I think the auditors balked on it. I mean, we should be doing specific amendments to our budget or approving this board. And basically, we need Chrissy will, and all three of us will actually come up with amendments to tweak the budget as needed and present them to the board on this special meeting, so.
Make a motion to set the meeting for budget amendments for June 29th at 10 a.m.
Yes.
Which is a Thursday.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
Does that give you
Hearing,
enough time?
huh?
Does that give Christie enough time?
Well, we got,
It has to.
it has to, we have to, the end of the year is the next day.
Well, I feel you. I feel you, but there's 30 days in June,
Yep.
right?
And you're off on Friday.
I know you missed not coming in for that special meeting on your birthday.
I was just,
Oh,
I'm just posing a question. Does it give Christie enough time?
Well, we could always use another month if you can squeeze one out from somewhere.
Well, we've got the 28th, the 27th.
Because when the calendar strikes June, we all kind of feel the squeeze, but yeah, I think we,
No, it's on our last business day of the month, so it's fine. We're just doing it early so that we can get the actual amendments in the,
We gotta
Roger.
enter them in and get them uploaded and,
We?
yeah.
Okay.
We,
All right.
so,
who's on that side of you that's gonna enter them in?
yeah, I don't know. We. All right, any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion, what, anyone disagree? Okay, motion pass. All right, board member comments. Cindy?
I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
Okay, John?
I'd just like to say to Roger, welcome aboard. Congratulations to the full-time position. And Congratulations to our Muskrat boys baseball.
Yeah.
And Muskrat girls softball, who were both crowned district champions Saturday. That's a pretty huge accomplishment.
Both of them. Have we ever been district champions?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Back to back.
But back to back.
Yeah,
but-
last year.
But with the women too?
Last year they were also.
Okay, good. So what's their next step?
Wednesday at 4:30 for the boys. I'm not sure on the girls.
Right.
I couldn't find it.
Is that in
I
Richmond?
couldn't either.
I couldn't find
Or
it.
here.
4:30
Oh, it's
here.
here?
The boys are here. I think
Wednesday.
the girls play in Richmond, don't they?
I believe so.
Oh, that's just such bad. I should have had this information.
I tried to find it, but I
just couldn't
couldn't.
find it. It's so
Anyways,
terrible.
it's an awesome achievement.
Yes.
Or
Maureen.
muskrats.
Same thing, congratulations, Roger. And, there's a Harson's Island Transportation Authority meeting, just a short meeting, this Saturday, June 10th at 10:30 at Lions Hall, if anybody wants to attend on Harson's Island.
All right, Mark.
Congratulations to Roger, and I'd just like to make one little statement that my questions to any of the people or vendors that come up and make presentations or any other comments, it's not always necessary to look at me and make a challenge. Okay, I'm doing that for the people and the residents and my constituents out there so they know as much as I know. When I make a comment about acronyms or whatever, they don't know what we're talking about. So let's make sure that they do. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chris.
Yeah, just a little PSA. I have a neighbor that takes care of his mother, and he struggles immensely with keeping up with his lawn. It looks terrible. And I am like anal retentive when it comes to lawns. I want it like perfect. So I went and had a talk. And I advised this person that they're on the blight list. And they're going to be having a forced cut. And it's going to be expensive. If you can't afford it, it's going to go on your tax roll. So after a little discussion, this individual expressed that he has a bad back. He's taking care of his aging and failing mother, but he thinks he can make an effort. And I told him, if he could make an effort, then I'll make an effort. So the very next day, his lawn was cut. And none of it was weed whipped, and it looked terrible, but whatever. He made an effort, right? So I had a couple hours, so I went over there and weed whipped, and together we made this thing happen. And it was the simplest thing I'd probably done all week, right? But somewhat satisfying because, A, it's a beautification of our township. And you'd not believe the amount of compliments that I've received in the last month about our area. You know, people love our area. They just love it. They love the waterfront. They love the community. They love the houses and the scapes. And people take a lot of pride in our area. So sometimes it's easy to get bogged down with some bad apples, if you will, right? So all I'm saying is try and think of a solution, and if within your ability to maybe reach outside the box, try and find a solution. Thank you.
Yep. Chrissy?
I attended a treasurer's conference last month. It was every single topic was fairly interesting. Maybe one was a little boring, but we heard from the state treasurer. She talked about all of the great things that Michigan is accomplishing. We had a keynote speaker. I think off the top of my head, his name was Matt Booth. He wrote a book called Basically Incredible, and it was about everybody's trying to think outside of the box, and so sometimes they forget to think inside the box, so go back to the basics. So anyways, he was pretty interesting. So if anybody's interested in a good read, Basically Incredible. And we are starting the summer tax roll tomorrow. So we'll be working on that till the end of the month. Tax bills will go out on just a day or so before July 1st.
Oh, I forgot too, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
We have a budget workshop, which people don't normally attend, but you can if you want to watch us talk about numbers on Thursday, June 15th at 1 o'clock. So just, to let everybody know if they have any concerns on the budget, to please let the board know. It's going to be here on Thursday, July 15th at 1 PM. We're going to be here finalizing, doing the budget. June 15th, did I say July? June 15th, yeah, has to be done by end of July. So if you have any concerns on anything we're spending money on, you can contact the board or attend the meeting or both. Just to inform the public.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Roger. It's good to have you part of our team. Yep. And we're going to try our best to make it so you can succeed here. So appreciate that. Summer is on, that's for sure. And a lot of positive stuff's going on. We're doing the pickleball courts and the bathrooms in the parking lot down on Pearl Beach Pier. And got a lot of good stuff planned. It's pretty exciting. But you were saying, Chris, that this past week we had the SIPN the event at Waterfront, and there's about 1,100 people there, and 85% of the people are from outside our area. And we talked to people at Harrison Township, Royal Oak, Southfield, all over. And boy, they just love our waterfront. They love being here, and those events bring in such good PR for us. And on that, Roman, our code enforcer, remember we said we were going to have him help out some people that couldn't clean their own yard for cleanup day. He did 13 loads in this pickup truck to help out other people. That's awesome. That is, and they were very appreciative. And what I was going to do is for our next one, which is in the end of August, I think the 24th that week, I'd have to look, but try to get some volunteers together and a few more trucks so we can help these people that have a hard time helping themselves as far as that. It was awesome. So got a lot of great feedback from that. So that's all I have.
Hey, Artie, before we
Yeah.
wrap this up, I found the girls softball,
Oh.
the Regional 22 hosted by Wixom in St. Catherine. So that's the hosting school, and it looks like they play on the 10th at 12 o'clock, and they have Madison Heights Bishop. So that's this Saturday?
Saturday, yep.
Saturday the 10th in St. Catherine of Siena for the girls softball.
Okay. So after districts, what happens? They is it regional?
Regional semis.
Yep.
Regional, semi, and then state. Okay. One more motion?
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Support.
All in favor? Thanks for coming, everybody.
Happy Father's Day.